I work the night shift at a hospital, and the child I treated was the only survivor of a brutal crime. Hey, welcome back to the channel. This was posted on r/sleep. I thought that night shift would be quiet until I saw Emily being rushed into the hospital on a stretcher, pushed by 3 police officers. It rained like hell that night. She was 13, maybe 14 years old, and had a fragile body covered in dried dirt and dark blood. Her left arm showed a deep bruise spreading from wrist to elbow. There were abrasions on her legs and shoulder, like she had rolled across rough ground. The girl was unconscious and completely soaked from the rain. What happened? I asked, gripping the side of the stretcher as we moved toward the emergency room. The officer in front of us, a heavy-set man with a tired face, kept flipping through a small notebook without looking up. His badge read Harris, detective. The girl called 911 reporting a break-in. He said she locked herself in her bedroom. When we arrived, we found her unconscious on the ground outside in the backyard. But the worst was inside that house. What do you mean? I asked, cutting the sleeve of her shirt with my scissors. It wasn't a pretty scene. He finally looked at me, his tone calm, like someone who sees this kind of thing every week. The girl's parents were dead in the bedroom. Bruises around the neck, broken nails, and signs of a struggle. There was water everywhere too. We still don't get that part. I pressed gauze against the wound on her arm. The skin was scraped and split in places, swollen from impact, consistent with a fall. Looks like she fell from something, I said. Yeah, Harris replied. Her room is on the 2nd floor, right above where we found her. She probably tried to get away from someone. And did you catch the one who did this? Harris hesitated, like he was weighing his words, solving an equation in his head. Well, he said, things don't make much sense right now. No signs of forced entry, no indication anyone else was inside the house. The family had security cameras outside, so that should tell us something. I secured a temporary wrap around her arm and nodded to the nurse who came to help me. We moved Emily into an observation room, and there stood just the 3 of us, me, Harris, and the nurse setting up the IV and checking her vitals. While I worked, Harris stepped away from the bed. He stood near the wall, writing frantically in his notebook. Emily then moved for the first time, still unconscious, and a low sound slipped from her mouth. Big brother is here, she murmured as if in a fever. Don't let him in. I must have had almost 2 cups of coffee before the nurse called my name, her voice excited. She's awake. I expected to find shock from her after she woke up. Instead, Emily sat upright in bed, perfectly still. Her eyes were fixed on the window, where rain was still falling like bricks against the glass. Her hands were clenched tight in her lap. Detective Harris was again inside the room, notebook in hand, standing uncomfortably close to her. What are you doing? I asked him. She's not ready to take questions. Tell me what happened. He ignored me. You called 911 and said you were scared of a big brother or something. His pen hovered. Waiting, Emily said nothing and kept on staring out the window. Where was he standing? Harris continued. Did he touch you? Did you see him hurt your parents? I stepped between them. That's enough. She's a patient and a minor. Harris closed the notebook with a quiet snap, then left. I couldn't understand why he was treating a victim that directly. Emily kept staring at the window, her fists still closed. I checked her arm again. The swelling was already going down, and the nurse crouched beside the bed and followed Emily's gaze. Would you like something to eat? The nurse asked softly. My shoulder hurts, she finally spoke, not answering the question. I checked it, and it was a mild bruise. Nothing serious, I said, adjusting the pillow beneath her shoulder. She relaxed a little, so I asked if she felt any other pain and told her her hand would be fine soon. She nodded, and I took her silence as a response to trauma. Some people cry. Others shut down. For a moment, I saw her glance toward a few magazines and books stacked at the far end of the room. Forgotten there by a previous patient, no one had bothered to clear out. I picked up the books and brought them to her. She opened one of them right away, curiosity lighting her face for the first time. Do you read a lot? I asked. She nodded and told me a little about the book she had read, how she really enjoyed science fiction, and how the new school her father made her attend didn't have a library as big as the last one. I didn't ask about her parents, but there was tension there she didn't put into words. My big brother was the only one that gave me books. She continued suddenly. That's when I read my first science fiction. Who is this big brother you mention? I asked. Emily stayed quiet for a few seconds before answering. He's my brother, she said. He's not here anymore, but he still talks to me a lot. Sometimes he is nice. Sometimes he is not nice. Sometimes he does bad things, especially when he sees that I'm angry. Like what? She didn't look up. Like what he did today to Dad and Mom. I talked with Emily a little longer, although she didn't come back to the murders. Then I stepped into the hallway, found Detective Harris standing by the nurse's station, hunched over his notebook. His eyes were wide, focused, almost manic. He waved me over. The cameras don't show anyone entering the house, he said. None of it makes sense. I need to get her statement. She mentioned a big brother a few times, I said. Maybe you can start with that. Yeah, same one from the 911 call, he replied. But it doesn't add up. Only 3 people lived in that house, and we're finding some concerning details about the girl. Like what? We've found Emily has been in long-term psychiatric care since she was 9, and she was expelled from her last school for a violent incident. I'm trying to reach her therapist in the school to understand what happened. My stomach tightened. I didn't like where this was going. She's just a kid. I said she wouldn't have the physical strength to harm 2 adults. I'm not saying she did it, Harris shot back, but kids can be dangerous. You have no idea what I've seen on this job, especially kids with the kind of issues I think Emily has. He paused, rubbing his face. I don't understand exactly how it happened either, but something about this big brother thing doesn't add up. His phone rang. Thankfully, 1 second, he said, walking away. I agreed something felt wrong, but I pushed it aside. I had other patients waiting. It took me an hour or so before I returned to Emily's room. She was alone now. The rain hadn't let up. She was still reading quietly, and I wondered if I had ever seen a child handle grief so calmly. I stepped closer, asked about the book, and checked the injury on her arm again. A few minutes later, Detective Harris stormed in, eyes sharp. Emily lowered her head when she saw him. Did you try to strangle a girl at your school, Emily? He asked, standing too close to the bed. Is that why you were expelled? Emily's fist tightened, and she stood silent. And this big brother who hurt your parents, Harris continued. Dr. Janik told me you often talk to him when you're alone, isn't that right? He leaned in, resting his arms on the edge of the bed. Tell me what really happened that night, Emily. Then we can help you. He did it, she said quietly, her voice breaking. My big brother. It was pale, towering over me by more than 5 feet. Its shape was vaguely human, but its limbs were too long, too thin. There was no hair, no clothing. Water dripped from its body, and its torso was tangled with algae and freshwater plants. Its eyes were white, empty and unblinking. "Don't hurt him, Andre," Emily whispered to that thing. "Please, he's a good one. I'll go with you this time." It didn't respond. It just kept staring at my petrified body. Emily spoke to me again, her voice firm now. "Walk slowly to the door. He won't hurt you if you do just that." "I can't just leave you with it," I said, using the last bit of courage I had left. A low, wet growl filled the room. The thing didn't like that, and every cell in my body told me it wanted to do to my neck exactly what it had done to Harris. "He won't hurt me," she said. "He just wants to protect me. Stay with me." I knew then I couldn't do anything. Staying would only get me killed, so I did what she said. Step by step, I moved toward the door, turned the handle, and stepped back into the hospital hallway. The thing allowed me to do it, its white eyes following me every inch of the way. But immediately after I got out, I ran. I ran like I never had before, straight to the head nurse's station, shouting for her to call hospital security and the police. Then I went back toward Emily's room, my legs weak with guilt for leaving her behind. I had left the door open when I fled, so I peeked inside carefully, trying to get a better look at the thing. Emily was no longer on the bed. I stepped inside. Emily wasn't in the room, neither was that thing. On the bed, resting on the blanket where she had been sitting, was the book I had given her. The window she had stared at all night was now open, rain blowing in. Wide open. Stay safe out there, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.